If you believe you should be able to conquer your uncomfortable thoughts or feelings, or you beat yourself up for failing to be able to do that, this video is going to do one of two things for you. It'll either annoy you for a minute, or it'll give you the most welcome bit of relief that you've had all week. So in this video, I'm going to explain why believing that it's possible to defeat or silence certain thoughts or feelings is actually the thing that's making your life harder. And then at the end, I'm going to share a new way of thinking about thoughts and feelings that can actually increase your overall well-being instead. If you're interested in any of these ideas more broadly, there are a bunch of links in the description if you want to go deeper. But for now, let's just get straight into it. The world wants you to believe that it's not only possible to conquer your thoughts and feelings, but that's actually something that we should all be striving for. It feels like modern advice everywhere just doubles down on this idea. So if you perfect the right routine, hack, protocol, diet, detox, or way to optimize, your difficult thoughts and feelings will just disappear. We're pushed new hacks, shortcuts, mental gymnastics, apps to try, or tempted into kind of scrolling or continuous distraction in order to avoid these difficult thoughts and feelings. All as if to say, here's a new way to stay one step ahead of whatever we do not want to think or feel. This new hack or protocol will be the one that finally works and makes them disappear forever. And the reality is that some of these tips and tricks do actually offer short-term payoffs, and they do work for a little while, but it doesn't stop those thoughts and feelings from surfacing again. And when they do, we end up feeling like we've failed. And we find ourselves in a position where we've now tried a bunch of new things, but we can still hear that voice in our head that says, this won't work, you're still not good enough, why did you even think that change would be possible? And it's at that point that when we start to hear those thoughts resurfacing, we doubt the efforts that we've made, and we try to silence them or press them down or force them from our minds, because that new routine or whatever we tried was supposed to stop them, but it didn't. And that's when believing in this myth that we should be able to conquer our thoughts and feelings gets really tricky, because it can leave you feeling this deeper sense of failure because your latest attempt didn't work, i.e. it didn't get rid of those thoughts and feelings. And we really need to normalize the idea that when those thoughts and feelings come up, that isn't a sign of personal failure. We've all simply been told to pursue the wrong outcome. The world wants us to think that escaping, conquering, or smothering those difficult internal experiences is not only possible, but the whole game that we should be shooting for in the first place. Because there's always going to be a new product, a service, an online course that'll be able to do that for you. But the real truth is that no one really wants to admit, because there's no product or service that can be sold for it, is that pain is inevitable. And at the end of this video, I'll link to another one which explains why this actually has to be true for us. But for now, I just want you to experiment with this idea. Try to play around with the thought that we can't eliminate pain and discomfort, but we can change the relationship that we have with those thoughts and feelings in the first place of when those difficult thoughts and feelings come about. And there's a skill called psychological flexibility that actually makes this possible. It gives you a simple, repeatable, three-step approach to navigating a richer, fuller life. And the 3 steps are these. So the first one is just knowing how to create space around those thoughts and feelings. So this involves learning different tools and techniques to make room for the full range of your thoughts and feelings, so you can stop the endless battle with them when they do arise. So you don't need to like the fact that those thoughts and feelings are there, but what matters is learning how to stop them from running the show. The second skill set is about connecting and observing. This means developing skills that allow you to know how to shift your attention freely in the moment. So you can start to see your thoughts and feelings from different angles and perspectives, because once you can do that, you can choose a response from a bit more of a steadier place rather than reacting automatically. And the third skill set is about choosing clearly. This involves knowing how to act from the values that matter to you, so you can consistently take small, consistent steps that build the life that you want. Over the coming videos, I'm going to be sharing a whole range of different ideas that allow you to build these skills piece by piece, because there's just too much to tackle all in one go. But here's one simple skill that you can start practicing today, and it's just simply the very basic skill of noticing. It's a basic skill, but it's one that definitely requires a lot of practice. So I just want you to take a moment to notice one place in your life where you've been trying to possibly outrun discomfort. So this might be around a thought of thinking that I'm not a confident type of person, or I'm worried what will happen if I change my job, or if I move countries, or if I stay with my current partner. I want you to just suspend any judgment that might be around that thought and just simply notice it. Just create awareness around there's a thought there that's happening. and just let that thought exist. So it's simply about saying to yourself, I'm noticing that I'm having the thought of low confidence, or I'm noticing that I'm having the thought that it's really difficult to make a decision about where I want to live in the long term. And the key thing is you're not trying to answer those questions or provide a solution to any of those thoughts. You're just trying to simply sit and notice that those thoughts are there. If you can, even just try to pull yourself away and see yourself looking at the thoughts and see it existing as something that's actually outside of you. And then what I want you to do is reflect on that as an experience. So what does it feel like to just let that thought sit there? So what does it feel like to say to yourself, I'm having the thought that I'm feeling a lack of confidence? And then just be with that thought. And what does that moment feel like? If you were to describe the feelings that you're having by just noticing that thought, what comes up for you? Do you feel a certain sensation anywhere in your body, like in your stomach, or perhaps around a tension of the shoulders or in your neck? Do you feel a sense of warmth, a sense of coldness, a sharpness, a dullness? What can you notice that comes up around that particular thought? If this thought around, I don't know where I want to live long term in my life, should I stay in this city or move to another one? If you were to describe that thought as a shape, what's the sort of words that you would use? Is that thought smaller than a coin? Is it bigger than a shoe? Does it feel like it has more blue colors to it, green colors, red, yellow? It doesn't really matter what any of the answers are to those questions. There's certainly no right or wrong answers. The point here is that we're just trying to practice getting curious about our thoughts and feelings, allowing space for them to sit alongside us. Because this is the first step in changing how we relate to our thoughts and feelings rather than fighting against them. When we stop trying to fight against thoughts and feelings, we start saving a little bit of energy to put into something that we truly care about, whether that's a hobby, a person, whatever it might be, or even just being able to address the idea of what those scenarios could be around that thought, but from a place that feels like we have a bit more control rather than just reacting automatically to it. And this skill of just being able to notice our thoughts is a powerful first step in changing our relationship with them and taking back a little bit more control and feeling like they're not capable of just running the show. So if you've made it this far, you're probably now wondering, why is pain inevitable? And if that is the case, how can you start living with that thought? If so, you're going to want to watch this next video here. I'll see you over there.